Welcome to the Explainer. So there's a new analysis making a pretty bold claim that we've just crossed a tipping point with AI, a moment that could completely reshape the professional world as we know it. Today, we're going to break that argument down. All right, let's just jump right in with the big number at the heart of all this, 74%. According to the source we're looking at, this isn't just another statistic. It's a huge flashing sign that the game has fundamentally changed.
So, you're probably wondering, what's so special about 74%? Well, according to this video analysis, it represents the exact moment AI stopped being a helpful sidekick and actually started outperforming experienced humans. And that has some massive implications.
Okay, so this gets us to what they're calling the 74% inflection point. And this isn't some score on a test about trivia or, solving abstract puzzles. This is about the real, complex work that people get paid to do every single day.
They're using this benchmark called GPDE Val. And the setup is kind of brilliant. You take tasks done by AI and tasks done by humans with over 14 years of experience. Then you hand them over to experts from places like Goldman Sachs and Google for blind grading. The result? 74% of the time, these experts either couldn't tell the difference or they actually thought the AI's work was better.
But here's the real kicker. It's the speed of this jump. The source points out that just a few months back, this score was way down at 48%. Leaping from 48 to 74% in that short a time, that's the core of the argument. We've hit an insane acceleration point.
But look, it's not just about getting a better grade on a test. It's about this brand new combination of raw capability, legit reasoning power, and, a massive, massive drop in cost.
To really drive this home, the creator of the video threw a pretty wild challenge at one of the new AI models. The prompt was basically, hey, build me a 3D city destruction game from scratch. You know, the kind of project that would take a skilled developer hours, maybe even days.
And get this, 55 minutes later, it was done. The source makes a big deal about the fact that the AI was in a reasoning mode for almost that entire hour, really thinking through this complex, multi-layered request.
And what it spat out, this is what really shows the shift, right? It wasn't a few lines of code or some helpful hints. No, it delivered a complete, playable game with all of this stuff working. This is the difference between an assistant and a professional contractor you just hand the whole project to.
Okay, so it's super powerful. Got it. But that's only half the equation. The other piece is the cost, and this is just wild. The analysis shows that the price for this kind of high-level AI work has apparently dropped by 390 times in a single year, getting way better and way cheaper at the same time. That is the classic recipe for disruption.
So what's going on here? How is this leap even possible? Well, the theory isn't just that one model got smarter. It's that the entire AI market, the whole landscape, has fundamentally shifted.
The analysis uses this idea of an intelligence curve. Think of it like this. In the past, you had cheap, kind of dumb AI for simple stuff and super expensive, powerful AI for the really hard problems. The argument now is that the whole curve has moved up and to the right. What was top of the line and crazy expensive yesterday is now just mid-tier and affordable.
And this is where it changes the economic logic of hiring. You know the old model, right? Hire a junior person for the simple tasks, a senior expert for the complex ones. Well, that's now being directly challenged. In this new world, the choice might not be between a junior and a senior human, but between a cheap AI and an expensive AI, depending on the job.
So with the change this big, you're going to see people react very differently. And that's exactly what the source says is happening. It's creating this massive chasm, splitting professionals into one of two very distinct camps. On one side, you have the first movers. These are the folks already playing with these tools, redesigning their workflows and building hybrid teams. Then on the other side, you've got the skeptics. They're the ones still hung up on the flaws of last year's models, saying things like, it hallucinates, or it's just fancy autocomplete.
And the video makes a pretty blunt point here. The skeptics, they're not necessarily wrong about the flaws, but they might be completely missing the bigger picture. At the end of the day, in a business context, what matters isn't how the AI thinks, it's the output. Is it good? Is it accurate? And is it cost-effective?
So this all boils down to three choices that, according to the source, every single knowledge worker has to make right now. 1. Denial. Believing your expertise makes you untouchable. 2. Panic. Trying to outwork a machine that's on an exponential curve. Good luck with that. Or 3. Leverage. Using this thing to amplify your own abilities.
And the final message here is all about urgency. Because if you think you have a lot of time to figure this all out, you might want to think again. The advantage of being an early adopter, that window is closing and it's closing really fast.
I mean, just look at this timeline they lay out. We went from GPT-3 in 2020 to GPT-4 in 2023. The gaps between these massive leaps in capability are getting shorter and shorter. The argument is that the window to adapt is shrinking faster than we realize. So the takeaway here is pretty clear. What was a cutting-edge skill just a year ago is rapidly becoming table stakes. You know, the bare minimum just to stay in the game. The real competitive advantage, the real win, goes to the people and the companies building skills and systems around this stuff today.
And that brings us to the final question from the video, which really puts it all on the table. It frames this whole thing not as some abstract tech debate, but as a very real, very personal strategic choice. The question is no longer if AI will impact your work, but how you're going to respond. Will you leverage it or will you try to compete against it?